Hey everyone, welcome back to Board Games Unlocked, and today I'm going to be doing my top 10 games I'm excited for at Gen Con. Yep, I will be going to Gen Con again this year, so if you see me, if you happen to you obviously go and you see me, do not be afraid to say hello and tell me how much you love my channel. But without further ado, we're actually going to be doing top 11. There is going to be an honorable mention. I have not played any of these games, so now obviously a lot of these games I actually know about prior to doing research, but luckily this year for the top 10, Board Game Geek did like a preview forum that you could go on that it would constantly update you of games that were going to be at Gen Con, whether they were demos or actually going to be for sale. To my knowledge, these are all going to be for sale, and I will most likely be picking all of them up. So, let's go on to number 11. Number 11 is Rise of Tribes. Now, this one, I believe, is actually, I want to say it's already out. At least the Dice Tower already, has their copy and they've played it. But this one seems interesting. I don't know a whole lot about it. In fact, most of these I don't know a whole lot about. But I do like prehistoric times. I do like area control, dice rolling, modular board, and variable player powers. So, like, you control a tribal faction in prehistoric times that's looking to grow, move, gather, and lead their people. Modular. So let's take a look at some pictures of it. And come on, there we go. So, I mean, it could be interesting, and I mean the cover art certainly does look really nice and really cool. I don't know who Breaking Games is, but it seems really neat, especially if you are controlling like your own tribe leader, getting certain powers. It looks like this guy has basketry, cart, oxen, and bow. That would create the variety of this kind of game. I haven't really found a prehistoric game that I've liked so far. So I mean, maybe this one will be it. So that is number 11. Now to the actual list. Number 10 is a game called Root. Root is a game made by Leader Games, who also created Vast, and they seem to really like the asymmetrical aspect. Every person is controlling a faction or a person that is completely different. They're essentially playing their own game. Vast kind of fell flat for me for many reasons. It could have been, and I mean, I'm willing to play it again. It could have been the group. It could have been rules misinterpretation. I don't know, but I do like the idea, and Root seems to kind of be that same, ilk. There are 4 factions, and each has their own objectives and their own ways to play. So you really only have to know how you need to play. You don't have to try and figure out what everyone else is doing. And the woodland creature theme seems absolutely adorable. The artwork looks fantastic. I'm willing to give this one a shot. So it looks like, yeah, the crafting beaver as an action you can build. Place legal building of clearing, and you gain 2 points. So I think there's the birds, the cats. I think there's like one guy who he's like his own faction. Like it's just like one person, and then another faction. I cannot remember quite what the 4th one is about, and I don't know how any of them play. I've only heard good things about this game, so I did originally back it on Kickstarter, but then I pulled out because I was like, man, I don't think it's gonna work. I don't think it's gonna work for me. But who knows? I'll try the Gen Con, pick it up, and then, I mean, oh no, it didn't work. I mean, what a shock. So that is number 10. Number 9 is, funny enough, another game I had originally backed on Kickstarter but pulled out due to, I don't even remember at this point, called The Big Score. Now, I do like this theme, the fact that you are trying to come up with your own heist group to be able to go into a bank or a casino or all these different places that has a bunch of money, and you try and get the most loot. That seems really interesting. I like those, like in like Grand Theft Auto 5, the heists that you could do online. Those are really cool. And then this one, it's no different. I did, like I said, back this one on Kickstarter because I liked it, and it comes with an expansion. Like, so it's card based, and you're trying to get, you know, the safe cracker or the hacker, and I believe you're. I cannot remember what the what the competitive nature between the players is. It might say it in here. In the first half of the game, players use card drafting to carefully choose which specialists to add to their crew. They secretly decide how to assign them to various small heists throughout the city, and they need to pick them just the right moment to send in their most skilled experts to ensure a job success. If these plans go well, players steal a variety of loot, cold hard cash, diamonds that escalate in value as more are gained, artifacts that are profitable for the player, and then in the second half, individual player abilities come into play. So that seems like all right up my alley, and I'm sure it could be a lot of fun with the right group, especially if you guys are all trying to like rob the same place. It all depends on, you know, who you happen to get. Love card drafting, so that is number 9. Number 8 is a game that I believe was I mentioned on another top 10 called Archmage. Anything with wizards I seem to like, and this one just piqued my interest. So it's like, what is it? Oh, at the very heart of the city, the cursed tower of magic rises into the broiling clouds. From this vantage, the Archmage and her order of mages ruled these lands for an age, drawing together the warring magics of the mythic races into one all-powerful and cohesive force. That was, of course, before the ending. Ooh, the ending! Oh no! Anyway, so, let's see. Euro-thematic, I'm not going to read all this, obviously. Euro-thematic hybrid where players take on the role of a fledgling mages, traveling the lands to recover ancient relics, gather followers, and train apprentices in 6 spheres of magic and beyond. It seems really cool. Like I love that idea of like a Euro kind of magic game where you're not all about casting spells, but it seems to be that is part of it. Let's look at some pictures. So it seems to be different than a lot of other magic games. Like Wiz Wars, obviously you're in an arena killing each other. Epic Spell Wars, you're all trying to kill each other with magic. Terrarion was a completely different set of magic. You weren't actually a wizard. You were just a like real life magician trying to, you know, illusions and stuff like that. This looks like it's tile laying. Like there's one big center, and then you build all around that. And I guess it might be some area control. That could be a lot of fun. Here are some actual spells that you will get to cast, and this artwork looks amazing. That you might have your own school that you focus on. So like automaton, take a follower from the supply and place it on any fundamental spell area. Immediately update your spellbook to include the spell. So yeah, it sounds like you have a spellbook, which seems really cool. Mage Wars, not Mage Wars. Yeah, Mage Wars was the one where you also had a spellbook, and that was kind of like a dueling 3D magic. I mean, I never got it to the table, but I did have a lot of fun with that one. So here's hoping that Archmage lives up to what I want it to be. So that is number 8, Archmage. Number 7 is a game called Guardians, which is, funny enough, really hard to actually search for Guardians because Guardians is a very common name. Deck, pool building, hand management, and variable player powers. This seems interesting. You choose and assemble a team of 3 unique heroes from the available roster of superpowered combatants. From there, players gather each hero's unique power and ultimate cards to form their own deck. The combinations are endless as you explore the strengths and abilities of each hero. Now, you might be thinking, oh, so you're deck building. Seth, don't you hate that? Well, I'm slowly coming around to it because I just got back into Magic the Gathering. I just bought Marvel Legendary, so maybe it's my tastes are changing. I don't know. But then this seems to be a 2 to 4 players. I don't know if it's actually 4 players. It could only be a 2-player game. And it's Plaid Hat, so they usually don't steer me wrong. Once players have assembled their team of heroes, it's time to take the fight to your opponent. Each game of Guardians has 2, okay, or 4. I'm assuming 2 players using their team of heroes to fight for control of a variety of unusual locations. So it kind of sounds like a mix of deck building to get different combinations from a variety of you know, races or factions, and then you're fighting, kind of like a smash-up style game. So this seems really, really interesting. The 30 to 45 minute time. I don't know. Like I'm kind of in that zone. I just did a game called Temporal Odyssey, which was by level 99, and it was fantastic. So Guardians seems like it could be cool as well. Plus, like this artwork, it looks as like it has a bunch of different types like all over the board. Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There, 4, 9. 9. Oh yeah, then 10. There's a person. So they could all have their own unique abilities, and they probably will, which sounds really cool. And then these are the locations that you probably have been. It's like Smash Up, and I love Smash Up. So that is number 7, Guardians. Number 6 is one that is called Newton. This is a Euro style game where you take on the role of a young scientist who wants to become one of the great geniuses of this period. To do this, they travel around Europe, visit universities and cities, study to discover new theories, and build new tools, and work to earn money. The theme is really what grabbed me here. I think it kind of, so it's going to sound weird, but it kind of reminds me of Chikarion, which I just imagine as you travel the city trying to get tools and just to become a renowned magician. This seems kind of like that, except you're trying to become a great, one of the geniuses, Isaac Newton or Einstein, or even great philosophers. And with this, it sounds like you can do new theories, so scientific theories, or new tools like Da Vinci, or work to earn money. So, I mean, that doesn't sound really cool, but who knows? Who knows? And really, this is so high because I really think this theme is going to be unique versus what hasn't been touched on before. But, I mean, looking at this seems like it might also not be as deep as it sounds. Like, if I was to tell someone, hey, we're going to play a game called Newton, obviously about Sir Isaac Newton, and it's like, oh, I don't want to do that, because it sounds like it'd be heavy. This board, at least, doesn't seem that way. And then you have these, I mean, it does look like it's a very icon-heavy game, but if they do it right, it's not going to be that bad. Let's see. This might be the player board. Or so it might. Who knows? It might be pretty deep. There's some people playing, so that might be just the city, and you have your own player board. So it could, yeah. I mean, it could be like a pretty heavy Euro style game, but I think it sounds really, really cool. So that's why it is my number 6, Newton. Number 5 is a game I originally backed on Kickstarter, but I pulled out as well. I did not know these games were going to be at Gen Con, but Sword Crafters, I don't really know what to say about this one, except it seems very gimmicky, but it seems also cool at the same time. In Sword Crafters, you are creating your own sword, trying to either bid or draft. You compete to forge the best sword, scoring based on length, quality, and magic. Each round, each player takes one cut in a grid of sword tiles to create a separation. After separations phase, each player selects one grouping of sword tiles and assembles them into their sword. When there are not enough sword tiles to form a new grid, scoring occurs. Players hold their swords in the center of the table to score based on length. Swords quality scoring is based on the highest number. So you are literally building a sword out of these tiles. This could completely fall flat and end up being super shitty. Like, that's the handle right there based off tiles, and then here's another picture. Like, these are all the gems you're imbuing your sword with, and you can go, I guess, for like length or type of gems in your sword. It's not all about the length, okay? Girth is good as well. I mean, who knows? This could just be one of those games that I was like, oh yeah, okay, that was alright. Yeah, I wouldn't play it again. Or it could be like, that was so much fun. You get to make a sword. And it's just that gimmick alone that puts it up at number 5. I don't think it's going to be super innovative except for that sword crafting part. But that is number 5, Sword Crafters. And probably the next 4 will be to no one's surprise, except for maybe one of them. But number 4 is Forbidden Sky. This one, I have not played Forbidden Island, but I have obviously played Forbidden Desert. And I love that game. Forbidden Desert is, I remember, first time playing it, I lost so many times. Like, me and Kat just lost over and over and over, and I kept trying solo over and over and over, and I just got so frustrated. I had a headache, and then I finally beat it. But man, this is such a great co-op. Forbidden Sky does that same thing, except I mean, it's obviously Forbidden Sky and deals with lightning. Apparently, and I didn't know about this until later, like, you actually build circuits? Like, it actually has, like, electrical mechanisms in the game, not just tiles that you look at. Apparently, there's actual, like, it needs batteries, and you actually have to work this out to charge it up, and I don't know if that all leads to, like, I don't know why I'm pointing to this, like, landing pad that lights this up. That's gonna be so cool if it works, obviously. But it's by a company that, I mean, they've done Forbidden Island, Forbidden Sky. Why wouldn't this one? Oh yeah, Matt Leacock. I think it's gonna be really really cool. So I'm definitely gonna have to pick this one up. I'm hoping it doesn't sell out just based off of, you know, the name alone has that weight to it. Some people might hate it because of the battery thing. I think it's cool. Anything that, you know, does something out of the box with board games, I usually gravitate towards. So Forbidden Sky is number 4. And I mean, I know it's going to be a very difficult co-op game. So I know a few people were complaining about, like, the tiles. So, like, how they kind of look bland, but I think if they make the battery system work or the electrical system work or whatever they're doing, then that can be overlooked. And it could be the first of its kind. Well, I know other games have used batteries and stuff like that, but this is one of those where bigger board gamers like, so it could start something like with apps. People are doing crazy thing with apps now. So that's number 4, Forbidden Sky. Number 3 is Detective, a modern crime board game by Portal Games. So ignoring the incredibly bland name, fucking Detective, a modern crime board game, it's like, well, okay, I'm not gonna, you know, play this. This sounds like Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective or Mythos Tales, kind of like that same, you know, genre where you feel like a detective, except it goes deeper. Like, in this, I believe you actually have to start using, brings classic card-based puzzle strategies, solving gameplay into the 21st century with the introduction of online elements. You will gain access to the online ONTARS database that contains data about suspects, witnesses, and documentation from arrests and trials related to your case. That is really cool. Like, unlike Sherlock Holmes, where it's like you are following a book, and pretty much what always kind of bugged me is, like, you have to, if you find out new information about another person, you can't, like, go back and talk to that person and be like, hey, you know, Jim down the road actually said you did kill that guy. What do you say about that? It doesn't do any of that because it's a static book. You just kind of have to put all those pieces together yourself, which is still fine. This one, though, still does that same thing. You take the job of real detective in a modern setting, which is also cool because Sherlock Holmes and Mythos Tales were obviously in the past. So it'd be really cool to, you know, I don't know if these are real crimes that happen and you're trying to solve them yourself, or if they're real crimes inspired. But take on the role of investigator, solving mysterious crimes while working as an ONTARS National Investigation Agency. This board game tells rich stories you will participate in. Let's hope that you will be able to deduce the end before there is another crime. I think maybe there's an overarching story to this as well with the online elements. It just seems super cool. I wish they would have picked a different name, but other than that, I mean, it has a 9.0 already. The game hasn't even come out yet, but 101 ratings was. I mean, maybe some people have played it, but I haven't. And, like, here's some pictures. Hopefully there's no spoilers. All the answers are just, like, right here. It's like, well, great. So, yeah, the case book, obviously, a rule book. That's another big fear of mine is Portal's rule books are always, like, incredibly terrible. And, yeah, here are the different cases. So, it looks cool, and I think it's something I can definitely get behind. So, that is my number 3, Detective, a modern crime board game. My number 2 is only my number 2 because it's about my second favorite board game of all time, Talisman! Talisman Legendary Tales. I had no idea this was coming out. I didn't know anything about it. It's probably gonna suck, but it's set in the world of Talisman, which has been one of my favorite games since I've started playing. Obviously, it talks about the Crown of Command and the Portal of Power. Players must work together, so it's cooperative, as an adventuring party to recover the 5 legendary talismans that have been lost. During each adventure, the party endeavors to recover one of the lost talismans. The adventurers must be played in order. You may repeat adventures, and you may play one or more adventures in the same game session. Travel across wondrous lands and have exciting adventures in which you must make important decisions and defend yourself against cruel enemies. I mean, obviously, I'm kind of biased here. Like, number 2, Talisman, a cooperative talisman. I mean, there's no pictures here either. So, I mean, except of just like artwork of people that I guess you can play as. I mean, in original Talisman with all the expansions, you have like 60 or 70 different characters, but this is what they all look like here. They all kind of look the same. But modular board, I guess you're traveling from place to place. I don't know. I couldn't tell you much more about that, except I'm very much excited for this game. So that is my number 2, Talisman Legendary Tales. And number 1 is technically a cheat. All the other games were actual, you know, full-fledged games. This one is technically an expansion, but it's Scythe, the Rise of Fenris. It's not Fenrir, but the Rise of Fenris. Scythe is my favorite game of all time. This introduces a campaign into that, which, oh my god, like, when I first saw this, I creamed. Like, it was just amazing. Empires have risen and fallen in the aftermath of the Great War, and Europa stands on the precipice of a new era. The economy is robust, morale is high, and defenses are strong. These are the reports from the countryside of strange soldiers with glowing eyes, but they seem distant and harmless. It basically adds a campaign of 8 games. Story of Scythe continues and concludes with an 8-episode campaign. While the campaign introduces surprises, unlocks, and persistent elements, is a fully resettable and replayable. So, unlike Charterstone, where it was actually modular and it was kind of legacy. Excuse me. This one is not, even though there are unlocks, you can completely play it over again. I don't know if that creates replayability or if it's like, oh hey, I know that, so I'm gonna know it from here on out. It also includes, like, and so it seems like an actual story, not like some lame ass, oh, just play every single quest in a row and that's your campaign. So that's not a campaign. You just played 10 games. So I'm really hoping that the story is really cool. And then it adds 11 modules. Instead of or after the campaign, the new modules in Rise of Fenris can be used in various combinations to cater to player preferences. These modules are compatible with all Scythe expansions. So this is the final expansion of Scythe. So the fact that they're adding modules, because the second one, or the first one they added were the 2 additional factions. The second one added the increased mobility of the airships and also changed kind of how those worked and how airships worked, which kind of changed up gameplay. Then you have these 11 modules, which are just kind of super cool. So I'm definitely going to have to pick this one up. I will shit my pants and cry if I don't get my own copy of Scythe Rise of Fenris. But that is it, everyone. That is my top 11 games that I'm excited for at Gen Con. Let me know what games you are excited for if you're going to Gen Con, or what you think of the ones I put on my list. Once again, if you see me at Gen Con, and you want to play some games, just hit me up. Or if you don't, just say hi. That would be awesome. But other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you. Hey everyone, thanks so much for watching this, and if you like this video, then click the subscribe button below to enjoy any video that I put out. And right next to that subscribe button is a little bell. Click that so you get notified of whenever I actually upload these videos. If you want to support the channel, you can definitely visit my Patreon page. The link is in the description below. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you.